Good. I'm going to mute now. Just.
David's joining now, it looks like.
There we go.
There he is.
Morning, David.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
good morning.
How are you all doing?
Good.
Good so far.
Good.
Still
Look where
early.
Adam is. Huh?
I wish. I'm waiting for them to invite me to the owner's suite one of these days.
Pretty swank. All right.
I'm just checking people off the list and seeing
Right on, that's cool.
who we're missing.
Did you get RSVPs from everyone? I know we might have one.
We already mentioned that Justin and Rachel.
There's two. Yeah, I can see the Lows are trying to get on.
Yeah, some. Like Verhergenheim, George and Cynthia are coming in now.
Yeah. I see a cat.
Morning, George.
Good morning. Cynthia's
Yeah.
also
I think we've got everybody that's maybe coming in.
Yeah, I just got an email from the Lows. They're trying to sign in.
Wonder if they're in the same folder.
If they're on the old, there's two invites, right?
Let me.
You gotta
Yeah, I
see
think
the
I messed up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Let me,
Let me forward them the other one, the one that we're on.
I'll tell them right now.
Yeah. I was trying to be efficient and messed up.
Okay, cool. Right on. All right. They'll be on in a moment. Right, so that's 2, 4, 6.
Yeah, I just forwarded that to them. So,
Right.
did you already message them, or shall I call them?
I just sent them an email.
Okay.
Cool.
The joy of technology. I should be used to Zoom by now, right?
Well,
Way of life these days.
Yeah. It's getting. Hopefully, we are meeting in person now, which is much better.
we're getting there.
I actually met with some cruise line reps in person for the first time, and I think it's the last year and a half. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nice. And we had two in-person events last couple of months. One in San Diego and one in Los Angeles. That was great.
Plus, you both have been cruising the last 2 months, haven't you?
We have, yeah. David just got back from Europe. I think he's going to talk about that, I'm sure.
8 days at sea.
And I hosted a group on Star Clipper and the big tall sailing ship. That was a lot of fun.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a unique experience.
Where, Caribbean?
Yeah, a round trip Barbados.
Oh, good. Actually,
Oh, that's nice.
Saw some of your Facebook pictures from Barbados. They look nice.
It was beautiful, yeah. It's one of my favorite islands, actually. It's really nice, beautiful, very tropical.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the
Maybe the best sand.
Anyway.
The best sand in the Caribbean might be on Barbados.
Yeah, the beaches are beautiful there.
Beautiful, yeah.
And the people are so friendly. Everyone was so nice.
Well, they're happy now because they're their own country officially as of a few months ago.
Yeah. All right, do you want to start? Because we're
Yeah.
still waiting.
Yeah, we'll do this. Hey, we'll let everybody's appetite. That's what it was like across the Atlantic.
Oh.
a little choppy.
It was a little choppy. Yeah, it was all good on the Caribbean side, and then we got close to Portugal, or closer, and then it started getting interesting.
Which ship were you on?
I was on Riviera.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like tethered to Riviera.
You could do worse.
Yes, indeed. So let's welcome everybody. I want to go through some things in sort of a general scope. We're honing in on our cruise and what we'll be doing so we can go over the schedule as well and maybe talk a little bit about the pre and post stuff with Rome and Barcelona, because I have something new and exciting to present for Barcelona that you all will get to experience. I will be staying on board and carrying on with my contract once we finish this. I guess the first thing we should all when we're all aware of it, and I've just gone through it with the ship, both going on board in Miami and then stepping off in Lisbon and watching the news and what's going on as far as COVID's concerned. Let me put it this way, COVID testing is concerned because it's very fluid, as we all know. And what I'm gathering is that we're going to have to keep our eyes on what Italy is going to require as we get close to going to Rome. Because from what I understand right now, Italy has some sort of sign up. They do it mostly for contact tracing, but there's something I believe we need to do that the Italians are requiring. So that doesn't matter whether you're going on a ship or wherever. So I don't know what that is, but I do know that there is something there. So, but that could change. I mean, things keep changing every week. So we just have to keep our eye on that. Oceania will be pretty good about what the ship or the company requires for boarding. And at this point, I don't, what happens in Miami is different than what happens in Europe. And so, again, we'll just have to keep right. But Oceania is very good about the communication and the heads up. But I would put in the back of our mind, plan on doing something to be in Italy, plan on doing something to get on the ship. Once on board, when I was on and we got into Europe, the only sort of thing was masks became voluntary. For me, as someone who was working on board, I had to wear one walking around the boat. The staff wears masks, but guests, it's voluntary. And then when I was teaching in the culinary center, I would open the class and then I could take the whole thing. I could teach without a mask, but when I left the culinary center, I had to be back on, but that was me. Guests, I think it's still, Adam will probably know better, but I think it's still sort of voluntary.
It's changing all the time, so
it's changing all the time.
Let me tell you now, in 2 months it'll be different. So
right. So I just saw that then in Europe there's mask mandates, and it depends on the country. I did see an internal email about Italy where the Italian government may make a suggestion, but it's up to the region of what they want to do. So we're going to be tapping on a few regions, right? So the Sicilians might have one thing and the Tuscany might have another. And it's just something we all have to keep an eye on, I believe the ship will also, the purser's office will keep updating everybody and the cruise director as the requirements evolve or change or wane or whatever they do during the course of the itinerary. Then I just saw that Spain needs a registration, mostly for contact tracing. I tried to sign up myself. Now, I did it before when I went to the ship in November. It's the same thing. You sign in, you say when you're going to be there, how long, so on, where you're going to be, so on and so forth. They give you a registration number, and it stops there until, I think, 48 hours or so before you arrive to Spain. Then they send a QR code.
They just dropped all that for Spain.
They dropped all of it, or?
Spain just stopped everything.
Okay, so I see it keeps changing. So all I can say, we have to just keep our eye on things, and see how that goes. Okay? The other thing and who knows if this is going to be in play by the time we get to June, and I just faced it, is that the United States wants a 24-hour negative test before you even get near checking in on your airplane. So I had to find a place in Lisbon to do a rapid antigen test, and the kiosks are all over not all over, but they're around. And so that's something that we may have to stick into the thinking when you're leaving Spain or wherever you're going and coming back to the States, is this 24-hour thing. And that's where that's at.
If that's still in place by then, the hotel will arrange it for us. So that's
right.
But we're hoping it's going to get dropped by then.
Yeah.
Everyone's lobbying the US to drop that regulation.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it is as of now. But, we still have a couple of months. So we'll see what happens.
Dave Laurie just joined. Hello. Hi, Laurie.
Hi.
Hi, Adam. Sorry.
Hey, Doug.
That's okay. Yeah, we're just talking about good topics like COVID tests.
Oh, marvelous.
So that's kind of where it's at. The other thing that was sprung on me that I hope goes away, it makes no sense, is when I went to check in at Lisbon Airport, at the airport, the gate agent said, "Did you sign the attestation statement?" I said, "Excuse me?" "Yeah, you need to sign an attestation statement that you're vaccinated. U.S. government requirement." And they handed me this 8-page thing. I have one around here somewhere that you have to read through and you sign it to say, "Yes, I'm vaccinated." If you show them your Vax card, they don't care. They need you to sign this thing that they tell you to carry with you till you get to the gate before you board on the plane, and that's where they're going to collect them. It absolutely makes no sense. So we'll see if that comes around. If it's still, I mean, maybe what I can do, just so you have it prior, I'll mail one out. I think I saved an extra copy. I'll mail everybody one just so you have it. But it's extremely superfluous. But, you know, that was sprung on the folks in Lisbon, the airport. They were just like, we don't know. And I have a feeling it went in the bin right after everybody got on the airplane. But they'll hand it to you at the gate, and you can't get on the plane without it. So, you know, it's just this kind of a thing that's making everybody nutty. But what can you do, you know? I want to talk a little bit. I can move on. Let's talk about, just give you some
I
updates.
did want to ask a question, if I may.
Yeah.
So on the Oceania site right now, and I know things are changing, it does say they require a blood test, the antigen test, within 72 hours of boarding. That
Right.
might change, but for those of us who are going early, like we're going to Rome a few days early, in fact, we're going to San Francisco to spend a couple days. So, you know, what are you recommending if that 72-hour rule is still in effect?
So when you get to whatever the regulation is to get into Italy, you'll have to do that. And then whatever the regulation is to get on the ship, you'll have to do that. And it would probably better to do it in Rome when you're there.
But then they want the blood test, which takes a day or two to get back, right? Not just a swab.
The antigen test.
Right, which is the blood test.
Not the PCR test.
I'm sorry, what?
Not the PCR test. The PCR test is...
Okay, so sorry, I'm a physician, so I'm just saying, I think you mean the antibody test, just as the nasal swab. So
Right.
we actually have home tests, which we got, we bought a couple and we got some free from the government. So should we just maybe carry those along? Just
that won't work.
the what?
That will not work.
They want a third party.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
We'll have to do it in Rome. We can find a place there to do
But
it.
it is the rapid test, so we could do it.
I'll tell you what, maybe we can arrange our Rome gathering around COVID tests, and then we'll all go out and have a Prosecco afterwards.
May not be a bad idea. We have to do it.
Basically, we just got to be flexible and prepared for anything.
That's
Yeah,
it.
a couple of weeks before, I'll let everyone know what we have to do, and we'll arrange it. I've done this a few times. I was in Europe with groups in October, November last year, and we arranged it all for everybody. There's COVID testing places everywhere now.
Yeah.
Good.
So the other reason I meant, because that new BA2 variant, the Omicron variant, is really surging now.
Right.
Well, that's why we have to keep an eye on things. You know, I mean, I don't want to. Certainly, I don't know how everybody feels and boosters and vaccines. I can just speak for myself. No doubt, I'm taking the second booster before I go to Europe and give it some time, you know, to effectuate. So probably mid-May or so. That's me. It's just an extra thing. It's a nice little extra thing on your vaccination card, you know. But you know, it's wild. Here's the attestation statement. You have to read through all of this and sign at the back. And hopefully this goes away, but I can photocopy and send, so you have this. Okay.
Well, David, they give it you. The airline will give it to you when you check in if you don't have it, so it's not a big deal.
No, but I mean, it's completely superfluous. Anyway, whatever.
It is.
All right. Let me just give you some updates on Riviera as a ship, as a vessel. Okay. I did learn sadly, but not sadly, they changed her dry dock schedule, so she's not going to go into dry dock until the end of the season before she comes back to the Caribbean. So she was originally planned to be like around now or at some point in May. That's not happening. No big deal. She's extremely clean. She's as great and fresh and probably the cleanest, safest place to be. You know, everything is fine. The staff is fine. It's all good. You kind of, I mean, now having been on her in November and in March, maybe, I don't want to say same as it ever was, probably better because there's extra attention paid to service and cleanliness, and it's a good thing. They do the best they can to navigate what we all are talking about right now. It's just, you can imagine the surprises that the ship is hit with, and it just changes. We all had to get an aluminium, pay for a registration to go into Bermuda. Everybody ran to the computers to sign up because Bermuda just decided they needed whatever they needed, and it was $40 and all this. And then all of a sudden the weather changed and we couldn't go to Bermuda. So the ship had to kind of manage all that and refund everybody, and it just becomes this thing. And you just go, okay, it just keeps, it is what it is. But as far as comfort's concerned and the things on board, she's great. The restaurants are fine. The food was absolutely delicious. Baristas, if you haven't seen it, since they renovated, Baristas is great. It's become very popular. They do antipasti and aperitifs at La Reserve in the evenings. So it's all good. It's nice. It was nice to be there. The culinary center is great. We're back to doing our hands-on classes in there, and there's been some sort of restarting, but it's all good right now. So nothing to worry about once you get near the ship. So that's a good thing. Let's talk just briefly about Rome. I don't know where have the Parco di Principe Hotel as a group set up, but obviously if you're going somewhere else and getting yourself to Civitavecchia, that's all good. I think and Adam probably has an update on this, one thing we'll have a transfer from that hotel to Civitavecchia, and I don't know what time that departure will be. That will obviously be on the 15th. It's probably an hour and a half to get from the hotel to the ship. So I guess we'll come up, or Adam will let us know what's been arranged for that if you want to take advantage of that transfer.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see the total number of people that are staying there. Right now we have 9 people staying at the hotel, including you and me.
Right on.
So
Okay.
the other people, if they want to make their own way to that hotel and take the group transfer, we can do that too. I'll send out an email about that.
Cool. Okay. As far as things going on and putting something together in Rome, it's still sort of, I'm gonna, for our next Zoom call, just, we're gonna have a little Bon Voyage celebration through Zoom, okay? And that's all I'm gonna say for now. I need the rest to be a surprise. But as far as a gathering in Rome, it's a little hard, only because some of the venues, they're still a little bit sketchy about a group coming into a venue, and so, I'll send an email prior, some of my sort of recommendations if you're interested in food and wine things, and then we'll just leave it at that, unless we want to gather at the hotel or have somewhere to have at least an aperitif. That would be pretty cool. But I'm starting to feel like, let's find a COVID testing center near a good bar. I think that's the way to handle that.
We'll definitely find a place at the hotel to get together.
That'd be hysterical. Okay. On the back end in Barcelona, again, we have, I don't know how long everybody's going to stay in Spain or Barcelona afterwards. Couple of things. If you're leaving the day of disembarkation, it could work out, I hate to bring this topic up again, but the ship will probably test everybody before everyone disembarks. And that may or may not work for the US requirement for 24 hours. It just depends on what your flight time is. I wouldn't ride on that, but it's just something that could be a benefit. However, putting that aside, in Barcelona, we do have it set up at that wonderful hotel on the Passeig de Gracia, which is absolutely gorgeous. I will point everyone in some direction for where to go or what to eat while there. But out of the gate, what I've arranged this week with a group called Culinary Backstreets, which is a very reputable food and wine excursion company that they do things all around the world. I've taken a number of their food tours. So we've worked out something that for us, if you want to sign up, and I'll send everybody a link to Culinary Backstreets, they have 3 tours that they do in Barcelona. if you put in Midsummer 10, you will get 10% off. And they have suggested, what they've done was, we disembark on Saturday, I think it's Saturday, right? The 25th. So providing on when everybody gets to their hotel, if you're staying in Barcelona, they can do a tour starting at 10:30 on Saturday the 25th, or Monday the 27th. And it's just up to you how you want to sign up. Their minimum is 2 people for a tour and a maximum 7 or 8. They like very small groups because they go into very small places. So that's available to us. And as again, I'll send everybody a link to Culinary Backstreets. So that's kind of a nice thing. They also have a guidebook, a little sort of pocket-sized book for eating in Barcelona. That's something else worthy of having. I have their Istanbul, and it's fantastic. The other thing I would offer in, and I will write to these folks if anybody's interested, is that if you're going to spend some time in the area down there, about 45 minutes outside of Barcelona is the Penedès wine region where Cava comes from. And there's a very good winery there called Augusti Tarelli Matta, which has an absolutely beautiful facility, and they do a great tour, and it's very high quality wine. I can give them a heads up that folks from Mediterranean Summer or us might want to go out there and pay them a visit. The town that the winery is near is sort of the, for lack of a better way to say it, the epicenter of cava making. And so there are a lot of other wineries and wine shops and restaurants around there. And there's also the very famous Simon Cole chocolate factory in that town as well. So if you're thinking of a nice little day trip that's not far from Barcelona, that's something I'll sort of point everybody to.
How do you spell Augusta, the winery?
Augusti?
Augusti, sorry.
Augusti, Augusti, like August, here. Augusti Torelli. You know, I have their, because the owner, the founder gave me his book when I went there. Augusti Torello Matta.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. They're really, really nice folks, family run, beautiful facility, wonderful wines. The Cava story is interesting, you know, so that's something worthy of investigating if you're going to be there. And that's Barcelona. The other thing is my favorite restaurant, and I'm going to give everybody their business card when we're on board, is a restaurant called Tapeo. And anyone who's been with me, I think the Lowe's have been with me on our Barcelona culinary tour. We go to Tapeo for lunch, Tapeo. That for me is a must. It's a go-to every time I'm there, no question. And it's about maybe a 45-second walk from the Picasso Museum. So it's in that part of the city. And in that area, there are a lot of other interesting things as well that I will send everybody some information. We'll talk about it when on board near that, in that part of the city. Okay? Well, that's the front end and the back end. I want to go through what we're going to be doing together whilst on board and sort of give an update and a report and a request and I'll talk about the culinary excursions first. We are kind of 98% finished locking down on the itineraries for these 3 excursions. The 3 of them, they're going to be in first day of the cruise while we're in Napoli. The second one, and again, I'll follow up with a schedule, a written schedule. The second one is when we're in Livorno. And the third one is when we're in Marseille. So if I look at my calendar, I mean, I go by ports of call. I don't go by days or dates anymore. But if we go by calendar, that's going to be the 16th, the 20th, and the 23rd. So I've peppered them during the itinerary because we have other things that we're doing, and I also want to kind of have space in between. What's happened is, and before I talk a little bit about what we're arranging because they're all amazing. And it's very exciting. One of them in particular, the first day will just blow you away how incredible this is going to be. What happened was, and I'm just going to be honest and upfront about this, is that when we started this Mediterranean summer cruise was back in early 2019. And so for those of us that have been with Adam and I since the beginning of this, has this evolved as we originally were going to do this on the other ship, Serena. Then we moved it to Riviera, that was going to be in 20. Then we moved it to 2021. Now we're in 2022. This has been the longest planning of a cruise on the planet, so we've got, high expectations here. But we all know why that happened, right? I mean, we can't get around that. What's happened is that when we created the package was in early of 19, and now we're in early of 20, so 3 years, and prices have changed. And prices have changed, as we all know, significantly when we go to the gas pump where we live. So I have to put in a request, because I don't know anything else other to do than to be honest about this, that the excursions, the 3 excursions that we're working with Oceania with, I'm asking for an increase of $25 per person per tour, or $75 for the 3 per person. It's hard for me to do this, but it's the best thing we can. Everyone's working hard on this, and this is what I wanted to say. If everybody's okay with that, then we'll just roll along and stay to plan. But when we're hiring big coaches and the gas is about $9 a gallon in Europe, and they're running for the day with air conditioning, it just puts a weight on everybody. It's not like I'm not getting anything out of the cost of the excursion, zero, but it's just the cost of doing business. The other thing that's come up is that because of COVID, certainly, and it just, the COVID door opens up opportunity for a money grab, but then again, the other side is, what are you going to do? If we arranged our transport on these cruises, on these excursions by ourselves, we might not necessarily have a service provider that has access to the port. And so the bus has to wait outside of the port because they're not an approved vendor, or they're not going through the shore operator. And if we want to step off the ship and walk onto a bus within 50 feet, we have to go with the approved operator. And so it goes through Oceania, it goes through the operator, and then that service provider can come into the harbor. On top of that, for safety's sake, those service providers have to be approved for safety and hygiene, right? So there's a whole thing at play here. And that's what's just, you can imagine all of a sudden you're going to have to sanitize a bus and pay more gas money and so on and so forth. So that's kind of where we're at. So is everybody okay with that? Or, because I want to talk about the good time we're going to have, but I have to make this call and get this underway.
Just to make a comment, for those of you that purchased airline tickets earlier, you've saved thousands of dollars on your airline tickets.
Yeah.
The price of business class air now is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
$7,000 to $9,000 return to Europe right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
that's the good part.
So that said, a $75 per person ask is minuscule compared to the thousands increase in airfares. Plus, your 10% if you take a tour, your 10% savings in Barcelona if you take one of the Backstreets tour, there's a little offset. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. If we're all good with that, then we'll just carry on, because what I want to do is this. We are going to really nice places, okay? The first one in Napoli, I hope if anyone's been in the high parts of the Amalfi Coast region, it gets very steep and hilly, and it's absolutely gorgeous and it's magic. We are going to leave the boat and go out to a restaurant, eventually, to a restaurant and a small hotel called Don Alfonso, which, if you've read my book, they have a prominent place in the story. But I couldn't think of a better way for us to spend the first day is to go out and pay them a visit. So we're going to go out. Once you leave the Napoli area and get past Vesuvius and Pompeii and those places, we get to Sorrento and it starts to wind up and go into the hills. We're going to make a couple of stops along the way because I need to forage for our first demo and tasting on board the ship. So I'm going to do some food shopping en route. There's tastes along the way, and then we'll get to Don Alfonso. They are dear friends. They are usually closed for Thursday lunch, and they're going to open up for us, which is really nice of them to do this. And you're not going to want to leave when you get up there. It's always like that. Okay, so that's our first up. Again, I'll follow up with these names and links so you can see about these places before we go. The second one in Livorno it's a Monday, so we're going to go to the Central Market in Livorno, which is, for me, one of the best food markets, I think, in the Mediterranean, because it's very local, and they're very proud of it. The building itself is architecturally interesting, but the people there are really animated and wild and fun and very hospitable. And because it's Monday, the fish hall will most likely not be open, but everything else will be, and that's where we're going to start, because it's a great place to kind of get a sense of place. It's very Tuscan, and not even that, it's very Livornese. And then from there, we're going to go up to a winery estate called Villa Dianella, which is a property that's been taken over by a woman who was an executive for Louis Vuitton, and she's taken this place and started the winery and the restaurant, and we get a private sort of cooking lunch demo with their chef and wine tasting. And the place itself, it was one of the Medici estates. So that's where we're going to spend the bulk of the day in northern Tuscany, which is interesting because most of the sort of wines of note from Tuscany are from south of Florence, and we're going to be north of Florence. So it's kind of an interesting little twist on Tuscan wines. The third tour is when we're in Marseille, and what we'll do is we'll get off the boat, we'll go right up to Aix-en-Provence. I'm going to re-navigate the tour a little bit because I want to go to a pastry and confection store called Béchat, which is right on the Cours Soleil, the main street in Aix. We'll walk through Aix. There's a nice little market in Aix-en-Provence in the center. As we go through the old town, we'll then get back on the bus. We're going to go up to Lumerin up in Provence, where we're going to have lunch at a restaurant called La Fenière. And I would say, as Chez Panisse is to Berkeley in the food scene, La Fenière is to Provence in the Provençal food scene. How's that? That'll put it in perspective.
How do you spell Fenière?
It's
So we can look it up.
Fenière is F-E-R-N-I-E-R-E.
Great.
La Fenière in Lumerin. So they're all unique, interesting places. They all make a huge statement for where they are. La Fenière, I believe, is a Michelin 1-star. Don Alfonso is a Michelin 2-star. Villa Dianella, if they were giving out stars, would easily be 2. So those are the kind of places. I'm not taking you to a, road stop wine tasting bar on the side of the highway. We're going to do some good stuff, okay? And so this has been a lot of planning in the making, but we've got it locked down. So I'm very excited about these tours.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool.
Sounds great.
Yeah. The demos and tastings on board, as you may have seen in the email I sent before, I scheduled them in the mornings for a couple of reasons. One is the Culinary Center is running while we're on board, so I have to kind of navigate around the Culinary Center schedule and their class schedule and their tours and so on and so forth. And it's not just the class, it's also their prep time in the room, so I have to kind of work with that a little bit. So we've worked it out that we're going to do the first one when we're in Malta, which is, the 18th, I think?
Yes.
Which is 18th or 19th, something like that. Yeah, the 18th. And the other sort of value add to that is departure from Malta is at 10:30 at night. So there's a full day after the demo tasting to spend some time in Malta, which I'm interested to even hire a car and drive. I've never been outside of Valletta, so there's time to really check it out there. The demos will be from 10 to 11:30. And so the first one is in Malta, and that's probably going to be a tasting of the things we pick up while we're going up to Don Alfonso. The second one is June 22 in Saint-Tropez from 10 to 11:30. That's the only anchor stop in this whole itinerary. So if you've done this before, you know that once the ship drops anchor and is approved for everyone to go on shore, it usually takes a little while to actually get on shore. So we can buy some time in the morning that way. And we have a 7 o'clock departure. So we don't have to be back on board till 6 or 6:30, whatever the last tender is going to be. So those are the two that are set up as far for your, itinerary planning. So it's Malta and Central Pay, June 18 and June 22. And again, I'll follow up with a schedule as well in an email. Some cocktail parties for an hour. They'll be from 6 to 7 p.m. We're going to do the first one on Sail Away. So that's on the 15th at 6. And then the second one is going to be during the day at sea, which is the 19th. And both of them are between 6 and 7, and they're going to be held at an area of the ship called the Sanctuary. And if my memory serves me right, the Sanctuary is on deck 14 on the port side of the ship. Is that correct, Adam?
It's right above the pool deck. Is that 14?
Yeah, it's on 14.
Okay. Yeah. Right above, on the port side, yeah.
So it's a covered outdoor area that can get sectioned off for private gatherings. So we have that, which is pretty cool. I had a meeting with the food and beverage director and the general manager when I was on the ship a few weeks ago, and everyone decided, yep, take the Sanctuary. So we have the Sanctuary. So that's pretty cool. Okay. And so as far as the scheduled things, those are what we have on tap. We have the 3 excursions, the 2 tastings, and the 2 cocktail parties. So this way, and I'll follow this up with an email, so if all of your other planning on board, you can work around those things. Okay? Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes, sounds great.
Excited.
I haven't seen, if you're interested, I have to get it from Chef Kelly, the director of the program. I will get the what the Culinary Center is doing while we're on board. I do know that I'm teaching the Viva España class on June 24th. But the other classes, Chef Stephanie is on board while we are. And as I said, I can forward some of that. It may be on the website already. I probably have access to it, of what the other classes and tours are. If you're interested, any of those would be booked directly between you all and Oceania. And that's it. As far as everything else is concerned.
Yeah, David, they are on the website. Some people have already booked them online.
Oh, for the classes and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, mind you, yeah, I wouldn't, if you're interested in any of that, because the classes are only for 12, the demand on them is high. They fill up quickly. And so the sooner the better. You could do a pre-booking. If you wait till you're on board, you might get a wait list only response from destination services. And that's just the way, for the foreseeable future. All the instructors, 12 in the room it's a better experience, I think, for everybody instead of the 20 or 24. But just know that if you're interested in taking any of the classes, they will fill up for sure. So now's the time.
David, just to let you know, your class on the 24th is sold out. We missed out on it.
Oh no.
So we'll probably take your suggestion and maybe go through the concierge or whatever and try to get on the wait list.
Yeah, get on the wait list for sure. I mean, usually no, but towards the end, that one on the 24th is the last day of the cruise. Sometimes folks are so, I can't do anything anymore. There's drop off, but it was a little overwhelming even for me as an instructor coming on board and seeing things just sold out like in no time, which we're not used to, because before, if I had 12 in a class, I was crying. And now they fill up. So anyway, let's see if we can get you in there.
Maybe they'll increase the numbers by then.
Yeah, it keeps just evolving and changing, All right. That's.
What's interesting about that is typically it's a couple. So having, married, two at a station who are both married, Why?
Yeah, I put them on opposite sides of the room now.
It's a lot calmer.
Anyway, right on. So that's kind of what's going on as far as our itinerary is concerned. I'm going to put it out there that if you haven't traveled with me before, I will fill your bags with food and wine for you to bring home. I mean, I will inspire you to fill your bags with food and wine to bring home. It's really important. And so I always advocate to stick a soft bag inside one of your larger bags to put all the shoes and the things, because you need your hard shell or whatever check bag to put the olive oil and the seasonings and the vinegars and the wines and all that stuff. I'm going to actually ask everybody to make sure, because even from day one at Don Alfonso, if you don't bring home one of their oils or liquore, you're going to cry, because when you get home and you see these things and you use them, you're going to think about where you got them. And so the beautiful thing, and what happens in itineraries like this, where the Mediterranean is just a cornucopia of availability, I'm going to keep pointing at stuff and saying, you need to bring that home. You need to get that. You need to do this. And in about 4 months from now, you're going to thank me, because every time you see these things and taste them, you're going to say, yep, that was awesome where I got it. And remember, you still have Barcelona on the far end. So, pack an extra bag. Just say it.
Or an extra wine suitcase.
Yeah. Okay. That said, certainly during cruises like this, when you buy wines on shore, you can bring them on board. Right? They're not going to hold back. I think at the restaurant, they may put a small corkage if you bring them to one of the restaurants. But, when you see some of the wines that are there that are significantly less expensive than what they end up being here, then that corkage becomes a non-issue. On the flip side of that, some of my favorite wines are between 15, maybe 20 euros. As a matter of fact, I start to frown over 20 euros. And as you all know, when we get to Saint-Tropez and Marseille, we're in the rosé zone. And so, it's overwhelming how much is available. When you even go to a grocery store and see the rosé aisle, you're going to spend time just trying to figure out which one or two you want to bring back, But you get very high quality wines there. And as I say, after 15 euros, you shouldn't have to spend more than that. And they're absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to keep advocating this kind of acquisition and consumption along the way. Okay? A lot to look forward to. And that's it. I think what I'd like to do is we'll set up another Zoom call numero 3. Maybe, I don't know, for early June perhaps, so we can do a Bon Voyage gathering. Okay? How's that? That'll be pretty cool?
Yeah.
And I think it'd be I think this is great that we're doing this, because it's kind of like by the time we get on board, we're going to be like, we've known each other for a long time, or, oh, that's what it's like from the waist down.
So I just have one request. If we are going to do another Zoom, if we could do it like really early in June.
That's fine.
Yeah, because I know a couple of us are starting to we'll be traveling.
Yeah, that's a good call. Okay, well, no problem. I mean,
We'll be leaving them probably on the 8th.
no, I mean, I like the beginning of the month anyway, because I'm looking at the calendar now, but for sure, we can do it.
Maybe the 4th.
Can we pencil in, like, Adam, are you around in early June?
Let me check.
I'm looking at Saturday the 4th.
We're not here the 3rd to the 4th.
Oh, no, okay, and when's Memorial Day?
The weekend before?
Yeah, weekend before.
End of May?
Yeah, maybe end of May.
That's fine, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, so I know for me, we can do it, everybody's around.
But we can also do Zoom wherever you are in the world as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as you have internet, you can do it from anywhere.
Yeah.
About one of the evenings, June 1st or June 2nd.
Well, that's what I was gonna think, an evening as well, we don't have to necessarily do a Saturday. We can do how about Thursday the 2nd?
Sure.
Okay.
One or two, one of those in the evenings.
Okay.
Sure.
That works for us.
All right, so if we're gonna do evenings, because we're West Coast and every time zone is a 9 p.m. East Coast, 6 p.m. West Coast, okay?
Sure.
Mhm.
Does that work? Okay, cool.
Good here.
Yes.
great.
Which,
All right.
which day?
What day?
Second,
We're
David,
looking
did you say the
June
second?
Right?
June 2nd.
Thursday, which is the Thursday, yes.
Let's do June 2nd. Is that good? We'll
Yes.
just put it in the plan for now.
Yes.
9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Right.
Yeah. Does that
Okay.
work?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, that's great.
There'll be some wine involved in that one.
Yes, there will. That's why we need to, yeah.
Can I ask, for the additional payment, does that go through Oceania or?
They'll have to go directly to us when we get there because we have to pay for the restaurant directly.
Adam, will you be on this trip?
Oh yes, I'll be there.
Let's look forward to meeting you.
I'm gonna be in Rome with you.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
good.
Perfect.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Yeah, so for the additional payment, we'll have to collect cash from you when we get there because we have to pay the restaurant for the increased charges.
All right.
Okay, so this also includes the buses? This
Yeah.
increase? Okay, so.
The biggest, the hit to these tours has been pretty much the bus factor,
Okay,
the bus and guide factor.
okay, and so it's $75 per person. Do you want it in US dollars, euros, or do you care?
Euros is better when we're over there.
Okay, and how many euros? Or do
you want to just make it 150 euros?
That's probably easier.
okay,
all right.
that works for us, yep. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, great.
What was the other question?
Yeah, I think we've been very fortunate, to have our colleagues at Oceania work with us on this. It's interesting, and I'll just share that, the industry looks at tours in large numbers, 50 people. And what we like to do, with these food and wine type things that are specialized is we're going to be 16 or 18. And it's just a little bit different. But then when you see some of the venues and the places, you can't imagine having more than 15. If you've been with me on taking any of the culinary tours, I mean, we go to small places, and that's part of that's where the good stuff is, and that's part of the exclusivity. So the folks at Oceania have been amazing working with us on these, and it's nice to know that we can now report and say we're kind of happening here with this. So that's great.
We do have room for like 4 more people if anyone has friends who want to go because we're last minute people booking now. So we only can take 4 more. But if you do have friends that have expressed an interest, that we can take 2 more couples or 4 people.
How's the booking level on Riviera? Is it like 80%?
Well, I see. When I was on the crossing, there were 900 guests for the crossing. It was 900, and I only did I did a Caribbean 10-day, and then the crossing. Both of them were around 900.
That's good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And if there's any last minute communications on board, will you send messages to our staterooms or just,
We'll create a WhatsApp group for the group. Does everyone have WhatsApp on their phone?
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp? Okay.
Okay.
We'll
Yes.
create a WhatsApp group so we can send group messages out.
Great.
Yeah, WhatsApp is great for those of you.
Do that in Rome. I'll get everyone's numbers in Rome to make sure we do that and set up a group.
Okay, good.
I tell you, I took a AT&T cellular at sea $100 plan, and the WhatsApp worked better when I was calling the States from the ship.
Yeah, if you have the AT&T, you can do the $10 a day plan that you can just use your phone as you do here and Europe, which is great. That's what I do when I go over there.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So this will be great. Does anybody have any questions or anything? I think I've covered everything I wanted to today.
I just want to make sure that everyone's covered with hotels because there's quite a few people that don't have it. I don't have the information of where you're staying, so I just want to make sure that you send me that information.
Okay.
Flight information, if you've done your own flights, I need to know that as well, so I can have it all on one spreadsheet. And
Do you want that in email?
yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Doug and Lori here. Thank you for catching our extra day in Rome. We're
Yeah,
arriving
I'll-
early due to travel changes by the airline.
Yeah,
So
I'll
thank
take-
you
I'll
very
take
much for
care-
catching that.
I'll take
We
care of
will
that.
need that extra day.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
And
Adam?
also, David, I want to tell everybody that's on this Zoom call, we've been lucky enough to sail with you before.
Yep.
And every one of your excursions has just been fabulous. And I want everybody to know that and get excited about this because you really knock it right out of the park, David. I want to
Thank you.
We're looking forward to doing this again.
No, wait, this first day is going to be, whoa. I mean, it's gonna take us a little while to get up there. It's about an hour and a half. And then when we're there, it's just, But there's a reason. Not only are the folks at Don Alfonso dear friends, it's just that their story and their whole being, when you want a sense of place and sort of what the MO of why I like to share my exuberance in this style of cooking that I like and love and have become have this kinship with the Mediterranean idea. This kind of sets the whole thing in a perspective that I couldn't think of a better way to set up a 10-day, cruise through the Mediterranean. I don't say the word cruise like cruise, but I mean experience through the Mediterranean without going to them first. It's just like, okay, this will just set it all straight. And why, when we had our first call, and I asked everybody, when you think of food and the words Mediterranean summer, I took that in and said, all right, I'm not gonna answer that. I'm gonna let the host show us what that really means. But it's not just the venue. Well, it is physically the place and the way they are and everything along the way, because I've been sort of driving through Google Maps on where we're gonna be going and just going, oh my God, it's just amazing. And hopefully sets a perspective that when you get home, you say, okay, I got this.
But David, we were excited before the Zoom. Now we're in the stratosphere. This is amazing. Thank you so much for all the planning. These venues sound just incredible.
They're, and this is only for what the Mediterranean has to offer, right? It's that. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this as well on the far end. If you're really interested in a food tour in Barcelona, I mean, having done the culinary backstreets tours, I mean, they keep them small. They're extremely well curated. They're run by food professional journalists and writers. They've won a lot of awards for what they do. And, on a Saturday, that's market day. I mean, there's a lot happening, and they really will kind of open up a different way of looking at a place, which is what I like to do. You're going to be with me with a chef's eyes, and then we start to see the big picture. And then we have this beautiful ship we're going to be on and everything that it offers. I mean, this is like a win-win-win-win-win-win, So, all good.
Well, David, one last question about Barcelona. You mentioned the Cava. Is that open on Sunday, the day after?
Yeah. Let me ask them. I'll send an email and see what their hours are and what they're doing in June.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
How are we gonna pay for the transportation from Rome to the ship?
So once I have the numbers, I'll tell everyone how much it is, and then I'll let you know how we're gonna deal with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions, thoughts, ideas, inspiration? Well, I know everybody's inspired. I need to keep getting everybody hungry. That's my job.
We all need to diet for about 2 months until we get on that ship, right?
It's very funny.
Just bring bigger pants.
Okay.
Definitely, yes.
Little stretch, little lycra, fabric with lycra.
Yeah. No diets here.
No, well, remember, when we're on, that's what I bring to the table, so to speak, is the Mediterranean stuff. So we're good on that front, But I'm going to keep saying it. I'll bring an extra bag, just saying.
Okay.
I've got a whole technique, actually. You may want to put in some bubble wrap. You may want to get a roll of shipping tape. I mean, if you've brought wine home, you have to wrap it up and get it in the suitcase and all that other stuff. And the olive oils and things like that. Yeah,
If you're going business class, buy one of the wine suitcases. I have one. They're amazing. I've brought wine back a couple of times. I love it.
And if you're on business class, it's a 75-pound weight limit. You could go crazy.
yes, you can get pretty serious in that. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
12 balls in a wine suitcase is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just saying, when we on the first day, as we're walking towards Donald Funso, there's a wine shop on the way. I think we're probably gonna have to stop there. Just saying.
Station in Maple.
But you've never eaten there.
Okay.
All right, all good. I think
Thank you.
my pleasure. So we're set. We'll put it out there June 2nd, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Surprise.
That's cool. All right. You'll probably get something. I'm gonna need everybody's mailing. Adam, do you have everyone's preferred mailing address?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. All right. Excellent. Well, Adam, do you have anything to add in? I think I've covered everything I need to on my list.
No, I don't think so. Just the logistics of everything. I'll make sure that everyone's taken care of. So anything that I don't have, I just put a spreadsheet together. So I was just checking everything, and I'll make sure that I know where everyone is, and I'll make sure you know where we are. And then if we're going to meet as a group, you'll know where we're meeting. And if you want to do the group transfer with us, you can make your own way to the hotel, and we'll all go together to the ship.
Right on.
Sounds wonderful.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank
You
you.
know how to get hold of me, anyone. So
Thank you.
Thanks so
All
much.
Thank you.
thanks.
Great. Everybody, thank you so much for being here.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'll follow up with an email with everything I just spoke about today.
Great,
Okay.
great. Thanks.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
All right, have a
you.
good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
I want to know who's farting because it's gross. It's not cool. Keep your butt shut. Okay? Okay, keep your butt shut. Nobody likes to smell my butt.